Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I am Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and today we are doing the final mock draft for the Chicago Bears in the 2024 NFL offseason. It's a full 7-round mock draft. We will go over all of their selections, including the number one overall pick and why we think they will select this player at number one. You probably already know who it is. But before we do that, if you are a big fan of the NBA and NHL playoffs, I'd like to put a couple bucks down on the games. Click the link down below and take full advantage of the promotion that BetUS is doing. There's a 125% match for all first-time players for the first 3 deposits. It's an absolutely phenomenal deal, and it will absolutely benefit you going into the playoffs here. You can have a little bit more extra fun on BetUS. So click the link down below. While you're at it, be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the channel to get notified whenever we create new content. Ryan and I, we're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the NFL draft, which is 2 weeks away as of this recording. So any help is greatly appreciated. With that being said, Ryan, let's pull this up here. You probably already knew Caleb Williams is going to be the first pick coming off the board. And I had a little fun in my last mock draft. Ryan and I, we've been doing mock draft Monday where I had to pick totally different players based off of what I've done previously. So I actually ended up going with Jaden Daniels, number 1 overall, just for some fun. And even as I was doing it, it just didn't seem right. I mean, we've been seeing Caleb Williams now for the past 3 years, 4 years. So to say, I think 4 years even too, because I think he benched Spencer Rattler at Oklahoma before then he followed Lincoln Riley to USC. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
That might have been 3 years ago.
Might have been 3 years ago. But either way, though, we've been seeing him play football for a long time. It's almost similar to Brock Bowers. It's just like everybody just knew, like when you're watching this guy, it's like he's the number 1 guy. And so maybe there's some prospect fatigue, or people are maybe just making content overall, just to why Caleb Williams wouldn't be selected number 1 overall. But if we're being fully honest with ourselves, he's one of the top prospects in this class, one of the generational QB talents that we've seen, probably going back, I would say, to Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow type era. And so I think Chicago's getting a phenomenal player. And I got to be honest, I can't think of a scenario of a rookie quarterback, or at least a quarterback being drafted number 1 overall, coming into a better situation. I think this might be the best team for a rookie quarterback drafted number 1 overall to go to.
I mean, I think you look at the last 2 guys who were drafted number 1 overall at the quarterback position, and Trevor Lawrence and, Bryce Young, Trevor Lawrence, and then I was going to include Joe Burrow, so I guess 3. But those guys inherited horrible situations. I mean, just absolutely horrible. And so for Caleb Williams to go into a place that has a really good offensive line, they just upgraded their receiver room 2 off seasons in a row with DJ Moore last year, Keenan Allen this year. And then, I mean, they also have the 9th overall pick to potentially get one of the top 3 guys in this class. And then that defense was top 5 or 10 in the NFL last year. And so that's just a phenomenal situation for a rookie. And I really think Caleb Williams is good enough to make them contenders right away. So,
well, there's already, I mean, when you're looking at a prospect level, it's like the whole debate really until Justin Fields was traded to Pittsburgh Steelers was like, who can win for Chicago this season?
Yeah.
And then there's obviously in the future debate as well, but then also too, if you're looking at who's going to win this season. And even just the fact that they were already kind of on a similar level as well. And then you still have Caleb Williams and his development that he can make. Yeah. Chicago is going to be a fun team to watch. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's not too many teams, I will say, that aren't going to be fun to watch this year. Maybe the Chargers. That might be about it. But in general, though, I honestly don't think this pick is that interesting to debate because I feel like we're going number 1 overall. It'll be more fun to talk about after draft night if he's not taking number 1 overall. It's like what were the Bears thinking. The more interesting pick, I think, is going to be their next one. They're picking at number 9, their actual true pick. Thanks to Carolina, they have 2 first-round picks. The way the board fell out, obviously, you see Rome Odunze, he went number 6 to the New York Giants. And as you saw in the previous slide, that Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Nabers went 4 or 5. So I think this is too early for Brian Thomas Jr., especially as well. They have the 75th pick overall. We'll get to that here in a second. I think here this is a potential trade back spot for the Bears. It just depends on which suitors are going to want to move up. I have a feeling that Atlanta is going to be a team that wants to trade back, and I think teams might prefer to trade with them just to ensure that they can go get their guy, just as we did in this mock draft with Minnesota trading up here. So when it comes to the Bears, they can absolutely trade back. If not, and with the top receivers there, maybe they go Brock Bowers, but I think they're going defensive line. I mean, you're going to have Dallas Turner there, Jared Verse, and then also Leatu Latu. If they wanted to go corner, they probably wouldn't do that. They have a much improved secondary from a couple years ago to now. I just keep getting kind of tunnel vision on them going with an edge rusher here.
Yeah, and I think you look, they have a good secondary. They even got Montez Sweat in that trade last year. The two interior guys that they drafted last year did really well in their rookie seasons. There's not a whole lot of holes here except for maybe that other edge spot. And I think going and getting Dallas Turner, he's a plug and play day one starter for that defense. And to me, kind of the missing piece, especially after with Tremaine Edmonds, and then they just signed Jalen Johnson to a big extension. So I really think this is the way to go. Either him or Jared Verse, whoever is there.
Well, and similar to Caleb Williams as well, like with them going to get Montez Sweat and extended them, and then how much improved that defensive line is. They invested a lot in last year's class with Pickens, and then who was the other defensive tackle?
Dexter.
That's it. So it's already, they're coming into a situation as well where there's a lot of good other players around them. Similar to like less pressure going to be around them. You just go out and produce, and he's going to get a lot of good one-on-one matchups, I think, going into a good place to develop as well. So I do think this spot is receiver first if it's one of the top three receivers. And then after that, it's probably going to go defensive line. Leave a comment down below on what you think the Bears should do with this pick, even potentially if you think they should go offensive line. But let's move on now to their next pick. They don't have a second-round pick. So we have to go with Jermaine Burton here. I think just the way the board's falling out, I think there's going to be a lot of these receivers here. They could even potentially make a trade and move up, and because they have one more pick here in the fourth round. And so they can do that, trade up if they want to go get a guy, and because they've already made all their moves, I would say, this offseason, really to make this team as perfect as possible. But you're going to have guys like Jermaine Burton here. Troy Franklin was just taken right before him. Jalen McMillan, Brendan Rice was taking a couple picks before all these guys. There's a lot of these receivers that are going to fall here in this spot that they can go and get their guy. I think a guy like Jermaine Burton, I think he complements Keenan Allen and DJ Moore well. I think he has the attributes, to kind of keep developing and being a good number two receiver, good supporting character to DJ Moore.
Yeah, and he really is like a top 50 talent. I think when you look at all of these like second and third tier prospects on paper, he is one of the top guys. He's just kind of a head case. Like there were some reports about him being a little crazy at Alabama, just in the locker room, kind of maybe being a bit of an a-hole. Not just not the greatest guy. So you get second round talent here in the middle of the third, just because of some character concerns there as well. And I think that's a risk worth taking, especially when you're not depending on him to be a top wide receiver for your team. So but let's
go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say, similar to the other two picks, just coming into a good situation where a lot less pressure than to be like, okay, you're supposed to be the number one receiver.
Well, and then if it doesn't work out, you just release them or trade them for a late day 3 pick, and then you just move on. But you're just taking a bet on the talent there. Let's move on now to their one and only day 3 pick. We got linebacker Maurice Liufau, just kind of best player available on our board. He ended up falling here. They don't really need linebackers, but he was just best player available, good depth, and then another guy that could work out of the rotation. One of the things with the new special teams rules as well, I think teams are going to want big athletic guys more than they already do, simply because I think these rules are going to be very I don't know. You're going to want guys that can make tackles in space that aren't going to get juked out of their shoes, right? I don't think you're going to see any more offensive linemen or like heavy tight ends on kickoff duty. So,
yeah. In general, I think the Bears have. I mean, they're going to be set at their team, like with picking first and ninth overall, and all the moves that they made in the offseason and the moves that they've made over the past season and offseason before that. If they've set themselves up for success here, it's another division too, where all of a sudden just everybody got freaky good in that NFC North. Quick. Like very quick. And so it's going to be fun watching them go up against the Packers, the Lions, and then the Vikings too, who I'm still maybe giving out hope as well, just on their overall performance in 2024.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap up this Chicago Bears mock draft here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of this Bears 7-round mock draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let us know. And on that, we'll see you guys next time.